Hello everyone, this is Caleb Simpson, and you are watching my Let's Play for Mindustry, or Mindustry, however you want to pronounce that. Continuing on with the campaign on the final mission of the game, which is Nuclear Production Complex. Now, this mission is very long, and I have it broken up into 3 different YouTube videos, so this is the third and final one of this particular mission. So refer to the previous videos if you want to see the earlier portions of this mission. Now for this particular video, what I'm going to be doing is kind of just talking about like my final thoughts about this game now that I've actually beaten the game 3 times now. I played it twice through with friends, and then I played it once for this Let's Play by myself after all of that. So I have a total of like 150 hours logged on Steam, so I've played this game quite a bit. I've also played some custom maps and stuff too. But yeah, this mission is just kind of my final thoughts about all this stuff, and also just holding out as long as possible because I haven't really done that yet. So we're going to see how many waves I can get up to on the final mission of the game. So here we go. It's one of the things that's kind of sad about this game. I mean, I guess this could be accomplished with mods, but you get to this endpoint where it's kind of like there's nothing really you can do other than just optimizing everything you already have. You're at the top tier of technology and stuff, and I don't know. There's nothing to do at this point. I feel like a more interesting map at this point would be to have, like, enemy encounters and stuff like that. I feel like the 2 things this game can use would be either to have some more stuff at endgame, kind of, but also just to have a more interesting campaign. The problem with the campaign is I always compare a lot of strategy games and stuff to StarCraft, but like the campaign in StarCraft is very interesting because every new level that they introduce, you get new units, and it's like super useful for that particular map. It's like obviously using the newest unit that is introduced is the way to go. That is the most superior thing to use. You can use other units, you can totally do it if you have a good strategy, or you just have a particular unit composition for your army that's a good combination, it just works out well. But generally speaking, all of the missions are designed in such a way where the new guy you get is the best. So say for example, you get mortar towers. You have towers that will snipe your shots or whatever, so you have mortar towers, that's the way to do it. Or you have a whole bunch of little guys, so the new splash tower you just got is the best way to go. And you make it so like the new enemy is like pretty resistant to, like, I don't know, say you got your first splash damage is fire, and then your next splash damage is electricity, so then you have these like big groups like this that you need a bunch of area damage towers, but they're resistant to fire. So then you're like, oh no, and then so for the campaign anyways, so you have to upgrade to the next tier. And so it's this rush to try and get there, but also that is the tower to use because you have so many big floods of guys for that particular level that the only way you can win is to get that. But then also make it so like you have to progress through the map, like I don't know, like say the resources are strategically placed, so like okay, you get up to silicone, and in order to get up to the next resource you need sand or whatever, and that's, or well, I guess silicone requires sand, it's a bad example, but you know, the next thing is titanium. In order to get titanium you have to defeat the enemy base, and so you defeat this base over here, and then that lets you, then you get this next, you can get to the next tier of technology, and you need that tower in order to get this one. So then I suppose that's just map design at that point, but I like the idea of a map where it steadily gets harder over time, but it's maybe a little bit more cinematic, or like they talk about, you have dudes that tell you what to do. They're like, hey, you know, you're really going to need this thing, and so you have voice lines that pop up in the game that recommend what to do. And like maybe you have an ally player that's sending stuff too, and so then you're just, I don't know. You know what I mean? Or like maybe you have a better interface for like the mechs and ordering them around. And maybe it's like a whole different playstyle. And you can do either one, you can swap between, but it depends on what ship you're using, for example. And maybe you have even more upgraded ships and they have different abilities too. They have abilities on cooldowns. But in order to power the abilities that you have to put resources into, kind of like building nukes in StarCraft, I guess. So you build a thing, an ability that you then consume by using the correct ship. So there's different buildings in here that you could craft for offense, and you have to load it full of resources to get a charge of that particular ability that you can then use in combat. And then just make that a playstyle. So if you play co-op multiplayer, then you could have some people being different archetypes of kind of like battle mechs, I guess, that are different types. So you could have one be kind of more of a magey type, somebody else be a sniper kind of thing, somebody else is being a tanky guy, whatever. And like your tanky ability would be like that you can be like, say, Winston in Overwatch, or Reinhardt, where you deploy a shield and you're like, kabam, and then it like sucks up all the damage just like a force projector. Like maybe maybe it's even the same mechanic. You throw down a temporary force projector and you're like, and it absorbs a certain amount of damage. And what it does is it absorbs 50% of damage and redirects it to you. But you have another ability that lets you hold still and you can repair yourself, and the repair is like amazing or something. I don't know, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, so what if you had this weird combination? You make your mechs a combination of healer guys that follow you around specifically, but then you prioritize all the other guys to attacking the enemy base, whatever. You had a little more control over it. Anyways, I think there's potential for like having different types of gameplay that isn't just focused on building stuff, and you could have multiple people doing different things. And I think that whole idea of progressing like steadily, like you have to really fight for it, and you go from one area to the next and to the next, and then you have, I think, a co-op campaign that's in that kind of manner that isn't quite so. This is all just like, this game almost feels a little bit more sandboxy, which is cool, and that has a certain appeal to it in and of itself. But I almost wonder about like the possibility of doing something like that. This could be like super elaborate with all the stuff I'm saying, and that could be potential for like mods, I guess, too, which are available on the workshop as well. So if Anouk doesn't want to do that, I think he should probably move on to another project. And this is a cool game, and I'm really happy with it. But yeah, I'm just intrigued with the possibilities of how this game could potentially be better. I think it has a lot of potential to be even more cooler than it is. I just kind of find this end game a little bit sad though, because it feels like a lot of these maps, anyway, these survival missions, there's not really anything to do. So I can launch here, but in order to get a good score, or, you know, to get the bragging rights, whatever, it's kind of like trying to see how far you can get, which is cool. There's not really much else I can optimize. I can get okay, I can break down scrap and get more titanium, I guess. The reason for that would be to boost like my plastanium or boost my surge alloy production. This is all stopped though because I've already filled up all the ammo for this stuff. So I mean, I don't know. I suppose like one thing I could do, like again, to last as long as possible. You get to this point where the enemies there's so many enemies and you're consuming so much ammo that you can't keep up with the amount of production you have. So it's kind of like towards the end, like one of the better things to do is almost like start loading this up into vaults and then unload the vaults on these conveyors, which then loads all the turrets. So if you get to this point where you're not drilling it fast enough, like these guys, if this production can't keep up with what the towers need, then you have a stockpile which steadily drains out. But then, you know what I mean? If you have a whole bunch of vaults, then that way you can have a stockpile of thorium so that you have ammo. So that might be like one of the smartest things you could do with like the surge alloy in particular, because it's so expensive and hard to make. Because right now my surge alloy smelters aren't actually producing anything at the moment. They're just sitting there because they're waiting to be consumed. The only thing that can use them is the base, which I guess I could overflow it, I guess. Maybe it's the other way around. Maybe if I overflow it... actually, I don't want to do it there. That's bad. Well, not really. Well, yeah. Yeah, that's better. So that way it prioritizes ammo. Then it sends it over here, and then it launches it. That's fine, if the base is full. Right now it's a little bit empty because I built something. Wow. I guess those towers are really expensive. I built some specters and stuff just messing around. Oh, maybe it was the force projectors. Maybe that's what it was. Like, for example, one of the things I could do is this one's full of silicone all the time because it can't get onto this belt. So I could add more belts, but you can see these belts are all full anyway, so there's not really a reason for me to do that. This is overkill, kind of. If it can go on there, it will. If it can't, all well. But the resources can easily keep up with it. I suppose, one way to force people to move forward would be, like, make it so there's a static amount of resources. Like, they do that in Factorio. I started playing Factorio, by the way. When I started this whole playthrough, I was talking about how, like, a lot of the reviews for this game were saying that if you like Factorio, you'll like this game too. I've been playing Factorio with my friends. We played a co-op, just like custom map, and we got all the way to the end, basically. We're working on space research now, which is basically just making everything else more efficient. Your movement speed, your ammo, like all that kind of stuff, just makes it so it doesn't consume as many resources, and that's all it does. So that's the end of the game. We're done with everything. All the technology is unlocked. The only thing you can do is just final upgrades, which cost a lot of resources and basically just make everything just a little bit more awesome. And that's it. We've already unlocked everything. We're already using all the max technology for everything. So it's just kind of making everything more efficient, and that's it. That's the end game, which is kind of lame. I mean, I don't know. At that point, you just say whenever you want to win, which is, I guess, the same thing with this game. Maybe these all kind of fall into the same trap, though. I mean, I don't know. I guess it's like, is that... I guess it just feels less exciting. Like, if you had to destroy an enemy base or something, it would feel a little bit more epic, I guess. I'm not sure. Another thing that would be kind of interesting, like, for example, here's a great example of what I think would make an interesting campaign mission, is that you have to gather titanium. And you don't have a time limit. The enemies they get double the amount of enemy units every wave. And the waves are really long. It takes a long time for them to get there, but they get way hard really fast. So, like, It's actually, the mission is completely designed to not be able to last. You can't defend through it because you'll blow up. I mean, people could see, they could see how high, maybe there's an achievement to get up to, say, I don't know, wave 40. But the mission itself, the purpose of the mission, the win condition for the mission is to collect a whole bunch of titanium. And you're sending it to an ally base. It's not to you, it's to somebody else. So then you have to decide, you're like, okay, how much titanium can I save for myself? And how much can I send to them? And then you make it so that when you destroy there are enemy buildings, they're also sending waves of guys. When you destroy enemy buildings, they drop titanium. And then you can dismantle like the ruins of it or whatever. You dismantle it with your ship, and you can get that titanium, which boosts your stuff further. So it's like when you're waiting for stuff to happen, then you're like right over here and like attack, and you're sending guys over. You're using silicone and stuff, which doesn't require titanium to build units, which you're sending over to this enemy base. You destroy them, you run over there, you're like, okay, quick. Or you have maybe you can do like even give you a unit that what they do is they just run around collecting like recycling stuff, like scrap walls and then like containers and stuff like that. That's what they do, is they just run around. Or like when your conveyors blow up, that they will salvage that instead of like repairing it, like these builder drones do. So that's what they do. But they're like walking units, and they're like really dinky. They die really fast, for example. So that could be a custom unit just for the campaign. You don't actually use it in this kind of mission at all, but you use it for the campaign, and it provides some really that's like totally different gameplay. And I think a mission like that would be super cool. I realize maybe that's like super excessive and it requires a lot of extra programming. I don't know, you got to make a sprite for it, and you got to program this, get all the AI right for that. But I think it's an interesting mechanic, and like that would provide some really interesting, like maybe you have a couple different missions like that, but they require different resources. So then you're like trying to figure out how to even get to that point. And then maybe like, for example, let's say there's an ally base in the top left corner of the map, and there's an enemy base in the way. And the ally base, if you can destroy this, and then they'll be like, all right, we're sending resources to this container, and then you can unload the container and send it to the launch pad or whatever. Or maybe they'll just do it on their own. They'll go ahead and build the conveyors, and then they're sending titanium too. So now you have this constant flow. So rather than you going and mining all this stuff, that your ally computer does that. That's all they do. They just handle this one corner, and they're getting attacked all the time too, but they have defenses for it. But if you can destroy the base that's in the way, then they'll send titanium to the launch pad. Which doesn't launch it for you, for the campaign, it launches it for the mission, like for the win objective. I think something like that would be interesting. So that's what I mean, like introducing other mechanics, I think could make some really interesting like different dynamic of like what you're prioritizing and stuff like that. It's not about just hanging out as long as you possibly want, which this is fine. This is a gameplay style, and like the map is really what determines that. The fact that this is a survival map as opposed to an offense map, but like I think there's more options than just survival and attack, I guess. More potential gameplay options. Maybe this is me just ranting, and that could be an option for somebody making a mod, I guess. I haven't really looked at the mods. I don't even really know what all they're capable of. I've seen people making, like, for example, a scrap generator where you mine over that or something like that, and it generates power, so you can use this for that instead. And I realized, like for example, I made a scrap generator, which is right here. The idea is you throw sand into it. I'll just build it real quick so you can see it. The idea is that you throw sand into it, and then you can throw in a pulverizer right there. Bloop. In fact, I can just show it real quick, I guess. Why not? Sure. I have to get this powered on at first just to get it going. The problem is with a lot of these custom schematics like this. Stop it. I need water for this. There you go. I think I just broke it. No, it's fine. Okay, anyways. Oh, stop. I'm trying to show how much power this generates. Oh, stop. Why are you... Fine, we'll do like this. There. And then the pulverizer. That's part of the problem. It's powered on. I don't know why it's freaking out. Okay, let's disconnect it. So like this, for example, I think this is clever. This is all great and everything like that. The problem is it uses just steam again. Like, I feel like we need something more than just steam. Like maybe some other resource you can break down. Scrap's cool. I don't know if you could have scrap 2.0 or something like that that breaks into thorium and something else, and then have a resource beyond this, whatever. I feel like this is all fine, like you need this and everything, but what if you had a couple more resources beyond all these things, beyond thorium and phase fabric and surge alley? I think that, I don't know. Then again, surge alley and phase fabric are kind of cool. I like the fact that this requires a whole bunch of sand. Part of what's interesting about that is you can get sand from scrap as well. I still, like, as I've shown in a previous, or no, maybe it was even this mission, was just the fact that you can do this. I think this is really smart. So you can just have it pulverize all the scrap immediately into sand, and you're just done. And like these will only draw power when they're melting something down anyway, so it's fine. But I think like that, for example, is a really cool mechanic, or like it's clever. I like that. So I wonder if you could do something like that. What if you introduced, maybe it requires, in the middle of the mission, requires phase fabric and surge alloy to craft it, but then what it does is it lets you break down thorium to give you another resource which you need to build something else, or so you can get to the next tier of resources. I don't know. I'm just musing. I don't know. I feel like the progression of all this stuff is good. I'm just not sure like what they could do to make endgame a little more exciting, I guess, is kind of what all the stuff I'm musing about. It's kind of like the way it's designed right now is all about like multiplayer, I guess, is kind of where it gets interesting. But the problem with multiplayer games like that, I don't know. I don't really like, I like doing all the things, and I like being more efficient and getting there. I like the progression, I guess, but I don't particularly like PvP games where the goal is just to kill the other person as soon as possible. That's boring to me. So like the idea of a StarCraft 2 map where it's just like over real fast is like Zerg rushing the other players, like really boring to me. Although I do find the idea intriguing of just like figuring out how you can even possibly do that in a game like this, because I don't really feel like it's the way it's designed is very conducive to that in general. I mean, you can fly directly over there and start shooting stuff, though, I guess. It would be so annoying to have somebody constantly breaking your lines. Although you can fight them too, so I don't know. Alright, I think what I'm going to do, maybe, is I will stop this recording and I'll let this play for a while, and I'll just kind of see when things start getting a little bit nastier, I guess. I don't know. I don't think there's much else I want to do. I can make more towers over here, but I'm not sure what that would accomplish. I feel like as soon as this wall just gets broken in and then, you know, half my towers die, then it's over. It's totally over. I think what's going to happen is I will probably be able to last until... I guess I could just start skipping waves. Maybe I should just be doing that. Like, I'm not... If Surge Alley is the only thing I'm waiting on, and then like Thorium, as long as those are both these two resources are full down here, that's all that matters. You know? So I guess really what it boils down to as far as how soon I can launch each wave, it's really determined by the speed of the cryofluid filling up, which is, I guess, limited by the speed of the bridge conduits, I guess? You know, I guess what I could do, I could just look at it. Like this actually does not get hit very much. This side gets hit a ton. That's what I should probably do, is let's just watch where they fire. Like, the air all fires right here. So these all get pummeled. These guys all fire right here. Ish. Once they get a little bit further, then they start doing this. But like by that time, most of them are already dead anyways. I suppose that'll change once, Here's the thing though too, if they get too far, these will start firing and these will start firing. Like, it's actually kind of nuts if you look at it. Like, really it's just these first two rows that are attacking. And then once they get past to this point, I have 3 times the firepower. Which is crazy considering how easily I'm blowing this up. It's kind of like having more units isn't really a problem. You know what I was saying earlier about, like, making enemies resistant to element type, for example? That's one of the things that was pretty frustrating in Proto-Life. I played through it 3 times, actually, because I liked it so much. That game is very interesting because there's all these different types of towers you can make. You use the same resources and you pick... Anyway, yeah. If you like this game, you should check out Proto-Life. It's a little indie game. It's pretty obscure, like, nobody knows about it. That game is awesome. It's not really about... collecting multiple types of resources as much as it's about optimizing the resources you have and being super creative with how you build your base. And your base, you can redesign it. Ooh, no. Yeah. You can redesign your base as much as you want. And, but yeah, a really cool concept though. It's one of the coolest, like, it's very simple, or like easy to learn, difficult to master kind of thing. Super interesting. And the custom maps that you can do with that allow a lot of flexibility for figuring out, like, different play styles, I guess, or like, I don't know. Yeah, it's really interesting. Just check it out. I debated. I have a Let's Play or whatever. I just streamed it and I just played through it the first time, and it was pretty, you know, noob strats at the time. I've debated about just posting that. I might do that at some point. It just, I'm not like super proud of my gameplay though, but I might post that because it was really interesting. I don't know. I enjoyed it a lot. It's kind of fun though. You know, the first time you play through a game, it's like having all those moments of discovery, like, oh, I can do this thing, or like realizing you did something really dumb. What is it? The Omega. The Omega is the best one overall. So let's fly. Land here? Can I land here? Yeah. So like this, I have this little nook here. And then this increases the damage of your defense as well, which is pretty dumb. This guy alone, like, I don't know if I want to risk getting forward. I guess I could. But you can see how good this guy is. There we go. Fly over here. Just go forward. I'll show how good he is. Like, look how good that is. I mean, granted, I'm not blowing up the big guys yet. Well, these are little guys. These are just crawlers that I'm fighting right now. So, of course, they die really fast. But look how fast he hurts these big guys anyway, though, too. I guess you didn't really see that. I killed one, and the other two died as soon as the melters started firing, which the melters take a while to kill these guys. But yeah, this Omega mech is like super good though. By the way, speaking of Sanctum, another indie game that's pretty cool is, well, indie per se, is Super Sanctum TD. It's like a really good Flash game. If you like tower defenses, you should check that one out too, because it's just really, I think it's balanced. I don't know if I would say super well. The problem is it kind of focuses on, there's basically two different ways you can go. You can either go super hard, like rockets and bullets, or you can go super hard electric. Is the only two ways you can build that game. That's the only way it's any good. So that's sort of a sad thing. It kind of limits which tower options you have, so you don't really have the flexibility. As far as talents, the talents boost the damage of those particular ones so high that it's not even worth doing some of the other talents at all. Yeah. Anyways, it's kind of the same problem that Diablo 3 suffered from, is like you're either locking yourself into specific talents or certain uniques or legendaries that give you certain abilities. It's like you have to do that. Once you, I don't know, it's like it isn't anything better. So you end up with that syndrome of like always using Disintegrate or whatever the case may be, always using Whirlwind. So anyway, Super Sanctum TV suffers from that a little bit. However, I do think it's an extremely balanced tower defense. I don't know if part of that is just because it's 2D or something like that, or it's a little bit more simplistic than some of the other games that those people make, but that developer. But it's just a really good game. Like, but like it's really solid. Like, no, sometimes you play a tower defense and you're like, like it's okay, but I guess I wasn't going into it expecting much. The graphics were kind of crap, and it seemed like compared to the other stuff, I was thinking it would be really mellow, or like, I got it for cheap. I think I got it on sale for like $2, you know. And so I went into it not expecting much, and I was like, this is a really good tower defense. Also, Dungeon Defenders? No, wait, I'm saying that wrong. Dungeon Warfare. Dungeon Warfare 1 and 2 are both really good tower defenses as well, by the way. Those are another like indie game one. It's super obscure, like nobody knows about them. The thing I think is really apparent in that game, it's very obvious that the developers love tower defenses. They're very passionate about it, and it's very all the towers are very interesting, and they have different times where they're useful. Like depending on which map you have and which talents you currently have available to you, then different towers are good. Let's see how that worked out. Oh, I blew up. I'm curious to see what got destroyed. Okay, so they killed these guys. It's not a big deal. If you like tower defenses, those are some great indie options. You know, I would say like the progression and like interest. If you like the whole like optimizing resources and moving things around and stuff like that, then Protolife is amazing. Super cool, like little dinky game that's like really cool execution of an idea. Like really well done. Like, I'm not even sure if they even got any awards for it, but they sure as heck deserve it. I feel like it's definitely a hidden gem, so I would highly recommend everybody to check that one out for sure. Protolife. Actually, I'll just type it. Do that, huh? Enter doesn't do it. Wait. Huh? Tilde doesn't do anything either. Lame. I was trying to type enter to type. I'm pretty sure you can in a multiplayer game. Maybe I can't just because this is the campaign. Then, yeah, Super Sanctum TD. It's a pretty good one. Dungeon Defenders 1 and 2. I think it's, like, overall, like, one of the best ones out there. It's kind of like you're trying to decide, like, what things are multiplicative or, like, you know, the splash damage things are going to be good the whole game, you know? In fact, like, meltdowns are just going to keep getting better as the game progresses. Meanwhile, specters are not, kind of. I don't know. I guess it's kind of a weird thing where, like, there's this sort of this breaking point where cyclones just don't matter anymore. Or, like, it doesn't matter if they have a whole bunch of little range or little planes. Those don't matter at all. But the you know, actually, okay, you know what, this is part of the balancing in this game, is it's all because it's based on multiplayer too. These enemy units are the same units you can send. So it's more the fact that, that's why there's a limited variety of it. So I guess there's that, though, too. I guess that's a good point. Like, right now we're essentially just coping with dealing with enemy waves of guys. Without actually, like, without actually having an enemy player. Skipping waves all the time. Half these towers don't even have ammo. At the front, anyway. I guess, you know, something that's sort of sad about that, if I keep skipping like this, is that now these middle ones aren't full on ammo yet either. So they're still filling up slowly. Like, I wonder, are force projectors worth it? Or is it silly? But these guys they aren't blowing these up. Yeah, like, there's no way. They're not even coming close to hurting these guys. So really, I guess what it's going to boil down to is bosses, again. As always, are bosses going to blow this up, or is it okay? If it's fine, then maybe it doesn't matter. And I had I don't know, I can always have them in addition to it. The problem is that force projectors, I don't know. Here's the deal. Force projectors block a good amount of health, but only they have a flat amount, and then it takes them a while to recharge. It's the same deal with the meltdowns. Like, just like how I have to have the meltdowns are a great splash. They're awesome. The problem is you have to spread them out. So it's more like the design of your defense will greatly determine the effectiveness of your splash damage, I guess, is kind of what I determine. So spreading out your meltdowns is the best way to go by far. Do not have them like all front row and then have specters behind that or whatever. That's terrible. Absolutely horrible. So the idea is, the problem is that men projectors give you a set amount of healing per second. It's like, well, actually I don't know. These will tell me, I guess I could do some calculations. I'd have to, like, have some smaller amount of enemy units and then figure out exactly how much damage something does. Little guy, I'd have to count how many shots it did and figure out how much each shot did. I don't know, there's probably some listing somewhere in the wiki or something, I don't know. But this feels like this is already doing enough healing that it doesn't matter how much damage the enemy does. They'd have to hit really, really hard. This is actually kind of the advantage of a big long wall like this. If I had them all funneled to one point, like if they were going straight here, for example, and they were attacking just right here and here, I'd have so much concentrated fire it'd be pretty bad. Although, one comment about that, I suppose the advantage of that, though, would be that I could have, like, big old cluster of healing, and then I could just have all towers throughout, or I don't know. Yeah, instead of having this big long wall of menders like this, I could have all clustered up like this. Because, like, here's the deal, you look at the AoE of them, what their area of effect is. If you had a big cluster of, say, 8 of them, or 9, boom, you have a block of 9 that's completely surrounded in large third walls, they can't be killed. It's like literally not possible for them to be killed. So then if that's where all the enemies are firing the entire time, then beyond that you have your specters or whatever. Let's try that. I'm curious to see how much if that takes any damage at all, or if this doesn't get hurt. Because there's 6 of those there. That's a lot. That's pretty good. It did blow up though. Yeah, it's too much concentrated fire. It's too much concentrated fire on one spot though. Okay. I still, this is better then. I still am intrigued with the idea of that. You have to spread it out some. Part of the problem. See, our units, the problem is this tower, this wall right here is getting pummeled. They all focus fire that. This guy's getting smacked here a little bit. Okay. One of the things I feel kind of sheepish about posting a bunch of schematics on YouTube, I debated about it. I think I will, just because I can, but I feel a little bit sheepish about it because I didn't join the... It sounds like the best place to do all that stuff is actually... they have a Discord server that Anouk has. I'm not sure if he has a link to it in-game or whatever, but you can find it on his website for sure. But then people discuss Mindustry in there, and they post different schematics all the time and compare ideas. So it's actually like the best place to like swap knowledge with other people. Reddit and stuff is pretty cool too. Those are kind of the two best places, is the Anouk Discord. So I have not joined that. So all the stuff is just kind of gathering, like just like seeing screenshots online basically, and then just my own playing around. So there's probably things I've missed, you know. But I feel like I have a pretty good understanding of this game, and that I've come up with some really good schematics. Even since earlier recordings of this same level, because since I stopped for several weeks and then picked up the recording again, continue this campaign and just see how I would get. I bet you what is going to happen is I'll get to wave 400, maybe even like 500 or something at least. I'm not really too concerned about it. This seems really easy so far. It's just the bosses is the only concern. And even if they blow up like a third of this, I can rebuild it pretty quick, so I don't think it matters too much. There's no particular reason to. I'm just curious to see how far I can get. Anyway, so I think I will post some schematics. So there's not, like... I don't know. Like, I feel like some of my ideas will probably be debunked after a little while. And, you know, there might be patches and stuff too, but I don't know. I feel like... It just feels like a shame not to post them somewhere, because I put a lot of work into them, and I feel like they're pretty good. So, you know, my level of pride in them is like 80%. So I'm pretty happy with them, but I feel like as soon as I post them, it's going to be able to be optimized a little bit further, you know? I think it's kind of funny, like, I've been having trouble, like, re-upload. So they give you this icon here. It's for updating the ones that are in the workshop already. However, it doesn't let me, like, I can't redesign it and then save. You could, yeah. If it's like this one, for example, which is not on the workshop currently, if I try to do it, if I remake it and then save it as this title, be like, would you like to replace it? And you're like, sure. But for this existing one that's already on the workshop, it won't let me do that. I have to post a new one and then upload that one and then delete this one. And I just feel like it's annoying because people are subscribed to, you know what I mean? Like, if somebody's subscribed to this in the workshop and there's like 80 people that are using the schematic and then I delete it, then it's gone. And I don't know what happens for them and I'm assuming it just removes it from their game, or it just, you can't click the link to find it on the workshop anymore, or you just have it in your own thing and that's it. I don't know. I don't quite understand how it works. So anyway, I just feel bad, like, replacing, just because I make a minor tweak to it, then replacing it on the workshop, like, is really, really annoying to people, especially if I'm making a lot of changes all the time. I wish there was a way to just, like, here's the deal. Like, I can update it in here, but it's just things like updating the title, for example. At least that's the way it is right now. Maybe they'll change it and then it'll work better. I don't know. It's just, it's not a very conducive, or like, yeah, it's a clunky system right now. But he's still updating the game, so who knows? Like, maybe it'll get more optimized later, but the way it is right now is a little bit awkward. Alright, so far I have one input for my entire defense for thorium, so that's a problem. So if I evenly distribute it here, let's scooch things around a little bit. I think I can have a better system for this. So a couple things. This input right here, it goes over to this right side. The right side's fine, like whatever. And same thing with cryofluid. I'm trying to make this more efficient. Yeah, okay. Great. Okay, I think everything's great now. So I just completely destroyed all my little bridges going around. One of the weird, so what I did is I made it so like, brings all the thorium up here, then this one just like hopscotches around to get up here, and then it sticks it out right there. Part of the reason I did it this way is because I'm working around all the goofy terrain here, so it's alright. But now what's happening is this right one is loading just the front and just this far right side. Part of what that means is this will wear out when, I guess maybe I shouldn't do it that way. Like, I guess what would be ideal is like this whole bottom side is one of these, and the front's all something else. This is nicer. I think I do want to boost this cryofluid. I run out of cryofluid like completely, pretty much. Or like, I don't know, like look at this. I think, you know, another thing I can do too, actually, you know what? Maybe that would just be a solution right there, is I think you can just have multiple tanks right next to each other, and they share capacity. So if I have 4 tanks, it'll evenly distribute the capacity between all of them, which is just smart in general. Because the time in between waves will allow me to have more cryofluid. However, I do think that I want more cryofluid input, and I think the way to do that is actually to have some more cryofluid somewhere else, and have a pipe go up here. Maybe I can even have it go across like this. Alright, so after a bunch of like messing around, here's what I came up with is I just made more cryofluid. What I did is I just made it go, I know this is all over the place, but I had it go across, boo, boo, boo. So it's heading to these tanks, and tanks that are touching share the same capacity. So this just allows it to have more capacity in general, but now, because I have basically twice the inputs-ish, I made this one really big, but I'm not sure if it's limited by the capacity of the pipe here. This tends to empty out really fast though, so we'll see what happens. But watch how, look, these tanks like are not emptying anywhere near as fast. Now part of the reason for that is actually the capacity of them is so much higher that, you know, like if this was a single tank, it would have been all the way down to like 25%. So you see how it's filling up. See, it's emptying really slowly, but it's also filling up really slowly as well. So, I don't know. It's fine. And here's the thing, really, the reason I'm boosting all that is so that when it starts consuming it, that it doesn't drain it very fast. Or like there's enough input that it's just like, wah! You know. That's the sound it makes. Wah, wah. So, you know, the only other thing I can do to boost stuff is I can start making dudes. So like I'm not really making a lot of this stuff anymore, but if I start making revenants somewhere, I don't really have space for it. I've kind of taken over everything. I guess maybe a better question is, what is the best anti-air? I'm thinking air units is what I want to use, but it's kind of like, you have race, which are the bad ones. Those are the really cheesy ones. There's Ghoul Bomber, Factors of Attack, ground onlys. There is Titans, I think, are ground units. Armored ground units, crawlers. Crawlers are weak guys. Fortress mechs, heavy artillery ground units. Do fortresses attack air? I still think that revenants are probably the way to go. You go like this or whatever. It's okay. The problem with this is it has a bunch of capacity, but it accomplishes the same thing. You can do routers or you can do overflow gates. Overflow gates are overall faster if you have more inputs, is the reasoning for it. It also prioritizes the end rather than the beginning. The routers, the nice thing about routers is it will evenly distribute it and get them all building at the same time though, so I think routers might be better for this overall. The other way of doing this is to have an unloader and then a single conveyor. And I can phase conveyor over this too, I guess. Who cares? It'll be fine. Actually, this is what I really should be doing. I should be comparing it to this, because I can just build all the way through all these. Alright, close enough. Okay, so I think what's going to make the most sense is if I load materials from the right side and get it over here. And I can have some more in here, but like this whole middle area, maybe I can have like mass drivers here that unload different directions. I'm not too worried about making it as efficient as possible, although I do want them to rebuild nicely. I mean, I guess it's fine. I can do like this, for example. I guess I could do this all the bridges. Maybe that's smarter. I don't know. I don't have to worry about all these junctions and everything. I just do it all in bridges. Okay, so this is what it would do. So if we take this and we put it in the middle here, go like that. Okay, so what I just designed, I did this with liquids. I just wasn't thinking about doing multiple. Is this really something I can do? This seems OP if this works. Okay, does this actually work? That seems cheap. If that does work, that's kind of insane. Oh no, I think I broke it. Actually, like, I don't even know. I want to make sure that I have really good flow in all this. So let's do this, actually. And then what we'll do is I can send this forward as well. In fact, this is an output, so what if we did something like... Oh, shoot, you know what? I'm not sure that they're... Okay. Command center. What I want is I want to have them rallied right here. There we go, because this is where the air units come from. So I want them hovering over my defense around where the air units are going to come from. And then what we can do is have just point defense drones, or point repair points throughout here. Tons, so that they get healed if they start taking damage. So these guys are going to blow up. I don't really... yeah, it's a huge waste. Is that too close? Like, maybe I could have it more... right there. Okay. So that will keep them alive a lot better. So if air starts coming through here, then hopefully these will be close enough where they'll start attacking them. The ground units, meanwhile, I think will be fine. I'm trying to make it so that these don't blow up to ground units anymore. Like these guys don't aggro them pretty hard. Yeah, it's just like more defense in case there's bosses. That's really what that's all for. One thing I'm not sure about, I think Revenants actually do splash damage. So I'm not sure that they're how efficient that is in that sense. Yeah, okay. We're rolling. Got things. Alright. I'm pretty happy with this. Is really confusing. I'm not sure if it's worth the effort, kind of. I can more tightly pack it, but man, is it confusing doing it this way. Part of the problem is I just can't see. It might even be, I don't know, it's kind of like if you have abundance of power, it might be worth it to just use phase conveyors, just so you have something that looks different, because they're so similar. I have no idea what's going on. Just the way it is right now is just like, it's just a mass of garbage, you know? This doesn't have any silicone, which is awesome. Okay, same problem. So that's easier. That's way easier. Just leave this the same rather than deleting one like I've been doing. Just instead. So like this one. This shouldn't have any silicone. Yeah, okay, so we'll just go a router. Boom. Oh, man. So confusing. Okay, so this one... this should output... I think I did that same problem where I broke it. Okay, so let's go like this. Okay. Okay, so this... we're gonna see how good these guys are in combination with the boss. So we'll just attack with them. So many air units. Attack Revenants! Rah! Boom. It's really what it's going to come down to. Either that, or another thing I've seen is the air units will actually, like, they get smacked and they run away. So the air units could, like, and they go around this black area, and then they just, like, sneak past everything and they start blowing up all this stuff, and then all of a sudden all your power is gone and you just lose. So... that could be the other way that this can go down to, eventually. I don't necessarily care about using a big node, per se, but the reason I'm doing it is because I want to make sure that, it fits there, whatever. I was going to use something small, but I can't do anything else with this space anyways. Surge tower. Yep, there you go. That's exactly what I wanted. Maybe it's not the greatest idea, because I think that's what's jipping out the bosses. I guess it's kind of like which matters more. If they get over this, well, that's theirs. I don't know. That's the thing. Send the guys forward, then tell them to retreat, then send them forward again. Depends on how fast you can kill them, I guess, though. Just like always. I suppose another potential option is I know that like wave turrets can be pretty cool, supposedly. I haven't actually really used them. My friend has used them, but I haven't really messed with them myself. They're just kind of low tier, though. It'd be cool if there was like a higher tier one that you could also use with liquids. Or wait, actually I should be looking in here. Water, slag, well that doesn't really do that much 4 damage, like, whatever. It's really good early game. Like, if you can get some slag going, it just, like, destroys them. Tard and stuff might be kind of interesting. Freezing, I'm assuming, is better. Actually, does freezing... wait. Do they shoot air units? Targets air, yes. You know, I wonder if this would be really good against bosses, then. Made a whole bunch of them that requires cryo fluid. There you go. Okay, so I threw a few wave turrets over here to the right that use cryo fluid. I don't know if that makes any difference or not, or like, I don't know how good that is. But we'll just try it. See what happens. It just feels like this is way easier than I remember, and I'm not sure if that's just because of experience, I guess. But then again, you know, I seriously think that single player is way easier than multiplayer. The ability to pause is just so overpowered. It's so strong. I feel like like one of the biggest things you could do to make the game harder for yourself would be to just unbind the capability of, you just make it so it's something weird or something you can't do. You know, shift equal sign or I don't know, whatever. You know what I mean? So that way you have to press a really weird key combination so you don't even have the option of doing it. Well, I'm almost to wave 400 and so far I haven't had an issue at all. Like, I don't think I've even come close to dying, so I'm not actually sure how far of a wave I can get to. I was expecting to just like start dying somewhere around now, but this hasn't been an issue. Again, though, it's the bosses are the issue. And the only thing that last boss wave was kind of scary because they were going around the outside, but that was because of my air units. Now that I realize that's why, then maybe just don't use air units at all. It was a bad time to do that. It's a bad time. Woo! See how many guys die? I think it's kind of funny that, like, you know, usually the answer for, I don't know, I just optimize my defense a little bit more, just really just how ammo is deployed. I spent a good deal of time just like fixing this all up and making it awesome, and now it's like, I'm surprised how much stronger it made my defense, like, at least when I'm skipping anyways, because it's actually keeping everything full all the time, and like it's very noticeable when these were all out of cryo fluid and then I just skipped to the next wave. It's very noticeable that like the next wave was suddenly half strength or quarter strength or whatever it is. It just made such a big difference, and everything's full on ammo all the time. I guess one comment about that, as long as your throughput is good, like you're wasting less phase fabric. Not that that really matters most of the time, but just commenting that like if you're more efficient with how you're deploying everything, then you're not going to waste all that. So if you are trying to stockpile it for some reason, then maybe skipping waves is actually kind of a cool thing. I don't know. I feel like this definitely needs to be updated. I don't know what that would look like exactly, but just sending more units at me is not the solution to make this harder. The boss units, yes, I guess, but like, you should make it so they have double the stats or something like that. It just eventually just reduce the number of units would make them way harder. Like, what would happen if instead of having 360 whatever enemies or whatever it is, they're all like crawlers that die instantaneously, you make it so the crawlers have 4 times the life or 5 times the life, because they're really weak, they blow up instantaneously. So if you make them so they have 5 times the life, then it'd be worse. But also, like, if you send them in waves, like, you send 20 and then it waits a few seconds and then it sends another 20 and then it sends another 20. The reason is because the problem is crawlers, these guys, is when they blow up all their neighbors too. So as soon as you get some of them down, then it's like, come here! So meanwhile, if you had it spread out, it'd be a lot harder for my towers to deal with it. One thing I like about like Sanctum, and I think Orcus Die, you can do this too, I think. I'm actually not sure about that one. You can tell it what priority you want your towers to use, so they can hit the highest health enemy, or the closest, or whatever, or the one that has the lowest life. I think there's a couple other options too, I can't think of off the top of my head. But it's just nice, or highest threat target, like special targets, you know, or target air, or whatever. I think you even have that option. But it's nice too for, that's along the same lines, Super Sanctum TD, the 2D one that I was talking about, the kind of like the fancy flash game, that one, you can do the same thing where you can prioritize your towers what you want them to attack. And it's just like, such a little thing, but it makes a big difference in like the strategy you use for how you're deploying your towers. This game is like super simple in comparison. It's just like, I don't know, it just feels too basic. Like, you don't have a lot of flexibility, but also your towers are kind of dumb. They're not smart, I guess. They can't do anything. So many boss units. Alright. Attack! So this is great. Like, this side, they just funnel them all into the middle of all this, and it's wonderful. So I think all the repair points died, and like the wave turret, just whatever. Wait. Okay, I think the Spectres were just out of ammo. Okay, well that might be a determining factor right there. It's just running out of ammo. You know, here's kind of the thing. If I let the guys get really far forward, then these will start attacking. Until then, they just don't. I feel like Revenants are bad. Is that bad to say? Like, sorry, Revenants. I wanted to like you. I mean, I guess here's kind of the thing though too. maybe a better way of looking at this is a last point of defense. So if they do start like blowing up buildings, whatever, then I can send these to kill off any stragglers. So that's cool. But yes, the bosses run from these guys. If the enemies spawned like more in the middle, or if I could have them, these guys behind or something, I don't know. Since I don't have any control over these, I can't micromanage them at all. Again, I don't know, I just feel like it's... Maybe these just were never intended to be used this way. They were only used for attacks, so I don't know. You're not supposed to use them for defense at all, so maybe it just isn't really expected, or like it's not important enough to really make the AI better somehow, or I don't know. But it feels like the bad AI of my units is making the bad AI of the bosses screw up. Maybe that could be used to my advantage. If I had them a little more to the right, then it would help funnel them even better, make them go a little more this way. But I don't know. I do think it maybe is still smart just to tell them to like go forward and like push them back once they start like hovering over top of my defense. Send these guys forward just to push them back a little bit, and then immediately tell them to retreat. Another thing I think would be kind of cool is, unfortunately, I think this might be fine now that this is so far back, but unfortunately it's kind of like when they retreat, they only go back to my base. If I tell them to rally, they'll still attack whatever's closest. So half of them will die or whatever. Or just continue pushing the enemies the wrong way. So it's still the same problem with thresholds. Like, I just do so much damage now, it doesn't matter. I guess that's true with any endless mode in a defense, though. And I suppose, though, too, like in an attack mission or whatever, you're only hanging out until you build a big enough army to take them out, so... Playing multiplayer or whatever, that's like the thing that's... you're going to be doing versus somebody else. It's all a matter of who can get there soonest, so like no one's actually going to get to this point in technology. And if they do, then the other person's just totally toast. So let's tell these guys to go forward. Attack. Yeah, so like this. This is when things start getting scary. I'm going to start doing this, right here. Leave the zone immediately. Aww. Wow, these revenants really don't do any damage to this guy at all. You know what? Yeah, this is not worth it. I'm just wasting them. I'll kill it eventually, but man, they don't do a lot of... Actually, let's rally. Retreat. Retreat! See how they just blow up? I don't know. They just don't... Yeah, compared to that, the specters are just so good. Yeah, I mean, that's basically it. Like, I don't know. I kind of want to just, like... I want to complete this just to show, because I've already gotten so far, and to be able to say, like, okay, this is the point when I finally... This defense seems amazing. Here's the point when it got completely overrun. That's what it looks like it's going to happen, is I'm going to get to this point where I'm getting, like, 4 or 5 bosses that just get through here, and then, like, they'll just plow through everything, and then I just can't stop them. And that's going to be the point of contention or whatever. I might get it to the point where, like, I have these guys just chasing him down, but I might get only some of them chasing him or something. I don't know. So I'm not going to just show everything. When I post this on YouTube, I'm not going to show the whole thing. I'm going to actually, like, do a bunch of fast forwarding. I'll crop it all up and stuff. I'll probably put them into several different videos. But just so you know, I have, at this point, and I haven't recorded everything either. Like, I've stopped the recording and then just, like, skipped through a bunch of waves and then I start the recording back up again, so I haven't even shown all that, but just this level alone, I have 12 hours recorded right now, at this point. And that's why I took a break for like 3 weeks and was playing other games and stuff, because I was like, this level's taking too long, I just don't want to mess with it right now. I do want to get to the end of this. I mean, now it's fast, now I'm zipping through waves really fast because I'm just skipping over and over again, but it's just kind of boring. Like, I wish I could, I don't know, I'd watch some shows or something in the meantime, but I want to keep the audio nice and clean. Alright, bosses. Here we go. Okay, I'm gonna try and like kill these far ones. Yeah, so this is really where it's at, right here. Boom. Oh no. So let's just I can't even command these guys. Attack. So yeah, they're just destroying all this. This is kind of the point where things start getting nasty, and I'm not really sure what to do about it, because, like, you see how they just destroyed all this? This is the thing, like, the more of these guys I have, or like, yeah, the more that are, like, skipping around the edge like this, you can see how they destroyed this pretty good. That was awful. But like what's going to happen is the next time that happens, it'll be worse. And then it'll just get worse and worse. So like, okay, they killed like, whatever, you know, 4 or 5 buildings, and they killed a couple conveyors, like, so what? And then they destroyed all the cryo fluid here, so I'm gonna have to fix all that. But you see how long this takes to build, though, and it takes a lot of resources. So what happens is the next time, it's gonna be even worse. So I don't know how much they're gonna destroy all this or something, and then after that they're gonna destroy it, because they're sneaking around from behind. So then they'll destroy all my cryo fluid, for example. Oh no, and then I don't have any cryo fluid, and then it's just like, it's just bad. These specters in particular are like really bad to rebuild. So my overall sentiment with this game is that it was a good experience. I feel like the campaign was worth playing through, and it was fun. And it's, especially to get it on sale or whatever, it's cheap, you know, and it's a good time. Multiplayer was pretty good. I think I would recommend this to play with friends. Like, it was a good co-op experience. I mean, you know, it's like any kind of building co-op game. Like, you end up stepping on each other's toes a little bit. Like, somebody's starting a project, or like, oh, I need silicone, and they go to look like, who's working on silicone? I'm working on silicone. Oh, okay, and then they go and help them, and then they're like, you get some like slightly conflicting like design plans as you're both like working on it simultaneously, and then screw something up for somebody else, and like, you know what I mean. So you end up frustrating each other, and that's just part of the whole genre, I guess, you know. So that's the price you pay. That's the disadvantage of it, but it's still a good time, and I think it's a good choice for multiplayer in particular. And I will say though too, multiplayer is definitely harder. Like just playing co-op like that, because you can't pause, you'd be amazed like how much harder that makes it. What you've seen so far in these YouTube videos, I would say it's probably 3 or 4 times harder playing with co-op, even though you have multiple people. So I played with 2 other friends, so we were just doing a 3-player co-op, and that was pretty difficult, at least the first time. After that, it was way easier, and we would like plowed through it, no problem. So I'm not really too worried about it, but yeah, I feel like at this point, once you get to this point where it's just like, I don't know, this is kind of what all the survival missions are, is eventually you're just trying to be as efficient as possible and then just like last as long as you can, and I think it's kind of boring. I don't know. I wish there was some other like end game option, but it feels like most of the games, I don't know, it's kind of like going up to the technology is really the interesting thing, and missions that force you to end the game early makes it so you don't actually experience the end game technology. So it's sort of sad. I'm not really sure. It's sort of this conflicting thing where like getting up through the earlier stuff is in some ways is where a lot of the excitement is, but it's a lot of mundane stuff because every mission you're doing that over and over again. So it's more like the challenge of just trying to figure out how to do it, like trying to work with the terrain or work with the resources you have available to you, like in the example of how this particular mission doesn't have any water, for example, or have any sand. So there's 2 resources you're just missing, so but you have ways of crafting that now, so it's okay. Well, I guess it's not entirely true. You have a little bit of sand in the pool in the middle, I guess, for this mission, but you're pretty much just, you can't use that at all. I find it funny how these little repair points are getting set on fire and they have no health at all, but they're like, there's enough menders here that they're like, whoop. So yeah, over 12 hours of footage so far, and I'm not sure how I'm going to break that up. I'm not really looking forward to going through all that. I'm going to skip a lot of stuff, but I mean, there's definitely some points, some lulls where I'm not talking and stuff, where I'm designing stuff, that I can just skip over that whole thing, whole process, and just show the end result, but it's a lot of footage to go through. Alright, boss again. No, I'm not sure. It might make more sense for me to switch to a different dude as well. Ooh, actually, there's no guys off to the right this time. This might actually work out. Attack. Okay, I don't know why that wasn't as hard as last time. Moment of truth, again. I wonder if I should switch to the Omega, do it instead. Yeah, see, this is the problem. Instead of doing this. Oh, see, yeah, like I'll survive this time, I think. And I think it won't actually be that big of a problem. But this is rough. So like they killed all my construction robots, for example. So once those get rebuilt, they'll automatically restore some of this stuff. But also, like, notice this. Like, so they destroyed, I guess, some cryo fluid? Not sure. I'm not even sure which things they destroyed. But my builder, it's going to be way easier to just wait for them and then they'll replace whatever it is. Because I could guess And like this is bad, for example, it's leaking all the cryo fluid, so this is steadily running out. Now I could stop it temporarily by throwing in like a single junction, for example, or liquid router right here, so that would stop leaking everywhere, and that would help. Looks like right now I'm actually generating enough that it doesn't matter that it's leaking, for example, but once these guys get done building, I think they're all the way down here. Yeah, here we go. Nope. But yeah, see, like, this is where things start getting nasty, because, like, okay, like, that was painful, but it's alright. But what's going to happen is they're going to go even further the next time. And then at that point I won't be able to, like, fix this up in time, because you can see how slow it is to rebuild some of these things. And the next wave just started. Like, and here we have air. Like, you know what I mean? If this whole side doesn't have any cryo fluid, doesn't have any ammo, then all of a sudden, like, everything's just bad. So this is kind of the point when things start being horribly wrong. I have a feeling I'll probably be able to survive the next boss wave, but at some point that's what's going to happen, is it's just going to totally blow up. Dude, so many bosses. So now I'm just plowing through my defense. Well, kind of, I don't know. Okay, real quick, let's set them to attack. Yeah, so I feel like I'm pretty much done with this map. Like, I kind of want to just keep doing this because I want you guys to see when it blows up. I don't want to just quit and have you guys be like, no, I wanted to see it. Like, after all that, you got all the way up to this level. Like, if I don't show it, then people will be sad. I mean, I guess along those same lines, like, I've launched for all the missions in the campaign so far, so I want to actually show a mission being complete, or, until I die. Because I haven't actually done that yet. Alright, we're starting to get up there in levels. I haven't recorded the last couple, but we'll see how it goes now. Problem is, like, it's adding one boss per every wave of boss waves that it does, and so it's going to take a little while before they just pile up and then spit off to the side. See, they're almost like clustering or like getting in each other's way. I don't know. I don't know how long this is going to take. I kind of want to keep trying just because... Like, see, I added these walls here on this right side, and it seems to be helping a lot, actually. Ooh. I'm wondering about, like, going ahead and including another one of these over here. Command platforms. Well, guys, I feel like my defense is a little too good. I wasn't planning, I thought I was going to be done by like wave 400. I've just been like clicking skip and I've been watching TV shows in the meantime, but just because I want to record, I've just been starting recording like when there's boss fights, but this is going way longer than I thought it would. I feel stubborn, like I already started this, so I should just do it. I haven't done it yet, I haven't seen how far I can actually take it, but this is like too effective, I guess. I added these walls in the back, and that's helped a lot. So it seems like the two weakest points is like here, and then like the ones that are just happen to end up being floating on top of the defense. But a lot of them are just kind of clustering up here, which is actually, this is exactly what I was trying to design. There's a couple things like this is a little bit odd. Maybe what I could do, well, no. Hey, why is this hurt? Oh, there's no power. Oh. Well, that would do it. Let's go like this. There you go. Ah, look at that. Now they're actually getting healed. Not sure how I missed that. So it looks like apparently a boss spawns every 40 levels, so... Okay, so... I'm just feeling done. Like... I don't know. I don't even know how many hours. Like, okay, today alone, I think I've spent 6 hours or 7 hours on this mission. I've been like watching TV and stuff on the side, and I just keep skipping mission after mission, so now this next wave is a boss wave. So my defense is just getting too good, so it's just taking too long. They're blowing up a couple buildings around here, but I put some surge towers on the backside, which is weird. The enemies, there's so many of them that they're spilling around over here. Then these guys kill a few of them. The problem is, like what keeps happening, the good thing is that they're just all bottlenecking right here, and then they kind of they get scared of these guys. So this is actually, I think this is an amazing defense, is having all these guys over here because they run away. So as long as they kind of stay right about here or something, what would be really cool, it would almost be better if I could have these towers like back a little bit further, kind of thing, like back here. And then that way they go into this, like, you know what I mean, into this circle thing, and then this like keeps them all corralled. And that would be even better. Unfortunately, I kind of need the space to place my defense, so I can't really do that. Anyway, so I'm getting sick of this, though. Like, I don't even know. I'm just doing really, really good. And the problem is, like, I'll probably be here for a long time. Like, I bet you it wouldn't surprise me if I could be here till wave 1,000, like, 400 or 1,500. Wouldn't surprise me if I can last that long. Like, that's how long it's going to take to overwhelm this side defense. So I just went ahead and destroyed the force projectors and all the surge walls over here. So they're just to let them go ahead and win. So, I guess I can go ahead and get rid of the healing too. I want to go ahead and lose. Oh, it's not this wave. Okay, well, it's upcoming. Never mind, it was the very next wave. 9021, or 921, whatever. I don't even think I'm going to attack with my dude. I'm just gonna kind of float around and watch. I want to see how fast they blow this up with no walls. Yeah, that's what I thought. Ugh, see, the walls like made a huge difference. So now that they're getting from the side or whatever, like they're just blowing this up really hard. These guys are rough. Like, they're seriously just really, really bad, and they do a lot of splash damage. So this is actually going to blow up a lot of stuff. Oh, man. Okay. Oh, I'm actually surprised that they survived that much. Oh, one more. So my defense is still too good. Okay, I'm just done. You get the idea. I don't know. I'm just getting frustrated because this is taking too long. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just getting too good at this game. I can't. I can't help but win. Okay, you know what? Let's see what happens if I get rid of all walls and all healing. How long will it take before enemies punch through? Such a weird ending. What a weird end to a Let's Play, right? Just like, you know what? Yep, I got to the end of the game, I mastered it, and gonna kill myself on purpose. See, if I had more builder drones, they could... Oh no, they're gonna rebuild all this stuff. You know, okay. I want them to stop. They're gonna keep rebuilding everything. I have a slow plane. Give me a fast plane. Much fast. This will kill them. So they'll stop building things. Okay, so I killed all the dudes. Get rid of all the healing. So I'm curious to see, like, if I don't have all this stuff, how much will regular waves hurt me? Oh, my ammo died. Oh, some of these got blown up along the way. Oh, I don't have any ammo. I have meltdowns, but I don't have any specters over there. So these specters are still working. But yeah, like, a third of my defense is just gone now. Just in general. But if I don't have walls, I think they're gonna blow me up pretty good. You'd be surprised, like, how fast they can kill me if I don't have some of this stuff. See how well you hold up without healing. You know, I guess another interesting point about this too, you know, surge walls, what they do is they store up a charge and they shoot out like an arc blast, where it's like that chain lightning thing. So that's what happens when surge walls get smacked. So if I don't have surge walls, that actually removes a lot of the damage that I'm dealing to them as well. It's only close range when that happens. I'm curious to see how fast they'll blow everything up. Well, they don't actually do a lot of damage. Yeah, okay, I'll just keep skipping. See, the problem is meltdowns are just too good. I think it's only bosses that can kill me. I want to see, like, how fast they can blow through everything. I could just disconnect the whole defense. Like, if I just go like this, bam, no power. Like, what happens now? It's only specters back here? Okay, that's absolutely ridiculous. We'll see how nasty this is now. Like, ready? It's just these specters still have ammo. Boom! Yeah. Meltdowns are just too good, though. See, that's the thing, like, all these guys, they just are all clustered up, so all that splash damage, all that AoE is just, like, destroys everything. So good. I'm surprised they're going up here. What are they doing? My core is down. Like, what are they... Oh, never mind. My core is over here. Never mind. I don't know why I was confused by it. I don't think there should be anything left to stop them over here now. Well, anyway, it was intentional. But yeah, like I say, I think that I could have gotten to wave like 1,400 or something at least. At least, if not more. But like I say, I think I spent a total... I already had 12 hours, I think is what I said earlier. So I already had 12 hours of this that I need to go through of footage, and then I went ahead and played another like 5 hours while I was watching. So I'm like, I'm done. I'm so done with this level. So I was trying to like be a sport about it, but I had to be done. And the campaign is complete. Good times. I find it super funny that I ended with so much Surge Alley because it produces so slow. It's so hard to get. So the fact that I have almost as much as everything else is insane. Like, but yeah, like I say, I think I played, because I don't have all of it recorded, I think I played a total of like 15 hours on that mission. So I'm kind of done with it. I'm like so over it. But yeah, I tried to stick out as long as possible, but I don't actually know how long I could have held out. Like probably a long time. I kind of feel like I could have had surge walls all along the entire thing. Or maybe if you eventually like got rid of everything up here and just like defended like this with surge walls or something, make more of a funnel or like more of a bowl shape. I don't know what would have been best, but yeah, I feel like I totally thrashed this mission and got to the very end. All right, so that's the end of the campaign. That was all great. Now my overall thoughts about this game. Now my experience was that I played through co-op with friends. We played through once co-op, the whole campaign, and then we played through again. We're like, let's just see, if we were to restart, how much faster could we do it? If we just like really rush for it and launch as soon as possible, or like get a whole bunch of resources now that we know what we're doing and we have better schematics, like how much can we stomp this? And because we really struggled our first playthrough. Second playthrough was so easy. We just like demolished everything. It was pretty crazy how much easier it was. We were like, wow, can't believe we were even dying to this game. This is crazy. Like we're so much easier now. And that was surprising, but also it was kind of vindicating because we were like, oh, okay, but it was kind of boring though too because it was so easy at that point. But anyways, so then I played through by myself and I recorded this Let's Play. So that was all kind of cool. Now, of those three experiences, I feel like my original playthrough was the most exciting. It was all this discovery thing, and I feel like the whole process of like discovering stuff together is part of what made this game so cool. Like, this game is very interesting because it's all about like designing good schematics and being efficient with your resources and how you're placing them, moving them around the map and stuff like that. And so like we design a silicone smelters, and then I design it one way and then my friend would design it another way, and we'd like look at the pros and cons of them and then like kind of merge ideas together to create a new schematic that was even more efficient. And like that whole process of talking through it was actually pretty cool, and like we'd each think of things that the other person wouldn't have thought of. And I realized that like looking up stuff on the internet is kind of cool because you can see how other people's playstyle differs and stuff like that, and it's kind of the same thing, but I feel like doing it with friends and discovering it all live like at the same time was actually pretty cool, rather than just like spoiling yourself looking online. I don't know, it was just really cool though. So I feel like if you're going to recommend this game to people, or like what is my recommendation about this game, I feel like overall I preferred the co-op experience, which was what I started out with. I had the most fun during that phase, and it was a really good experience. It was also a lot harder. Single player, being able to pause makes the game a lot easier. It makes it way more chill, which is a good thing in and of itself too, because it's like, you can, if you're like doing something like you're listening to a podcast or you're watching a show or you're waiting for something else, like say like you're waiting for matches in Fortnite or I don't know, whatever the thing is, you're waiting for something to happen. You're waiting for a group to pop in World of Warcraft, so you're sitting around for 10 minutes or whatever, and so you're playing this minimized at the same time you're listening for that when your group pops in WoW. I don't know, whatever the thing is. So you're waiting around for 10 minutes, and you can play this in the meantime, and you can just pause it whenever you want and then just maximize your other game and then go do that. So like, I feel like this is kind of a good experience even when it's casual. It's fine. I would rather play this than Bejeweled, you know what I mean? Like, this is so much better, at least in my opinion. Anyways, so you get the idea. So I think this was a great game, and there's pros and cons to both of those things. Now the workshop does have a bunch of interesting things available to it as well. So there's a bunch of maps and stuff you can play. So there's mods. So you can play some of these mods where they have you know, they have a whole bunch of different things like this guy, for example, I was just looking at, is this allows you to make a building where you can trade resources back and forth, and the ratio is 2 to 1, so you go from one resource to another. So if you have an overabundance of a particular resource, you can then use that to give you something else. Now, yeah, 10 of one resource for 5 of the next. So technically you could even use this to get copper all the way down to thorium or something. I don't know. But that's interesting. It looks like it maybe doesn't have coal available, which is fine. Yeah, I mean, I guess, well, it doesn't have sand either. I wonder if there's something else that can make sand out of copper or something. Anyway, but you get the idea. So you can get different mods that give you new buildings, and some of them that change the mechanics a little bit. Like, I saw this up here, which is kind of interesting, that somebody has a water generator, a water dam, which is interesting. Windmills. I'm not really sure. A windmill, I guess, would just be like a different version of a solar panel. I guess it just takes different things, and 2 new batteries, whatever that means. But that's interesting. So just mods that do different things and add various new buildings. And I would really cool if they could add some different types of whatever it's called, different types of play styles though. But anyways, there's also a bunch of maps you can play as well, and the maps themselves, some of them are kind of interesting because you'll have like PvP ones. So here's a PvP mission, so is this one. So you're fighting against each other, and they have different amounts of resources on them as well. Or no, it's 5. There's 5 players. Maybe the 5th player's in the middle? I don't quite understand. Whatever. I wonder if I can click on it and make it bigger. Nope, not really. No comments. But anyway, so I haven't shown any PvP yet, but that's another whole playstyle too that you can do as well. And I feel like this game overall would be better with friends, but just pugging with random people online, sometimes it's kind of weird. Or like trying to get people to agree to certain rules, whatever, for example. But yeah, it's just sometimes it's kind of weird because some people show up and they're like, hey, I got a bunch of Surge LA or whatever. I don't know. They do kinds of weird things. But so in addition to all that, I went ahead and posted all of my schematics. Well, not all of them, but most of them. Most of the schematics that you saw throughout my campaign, I have posted on the Steam Workshop. So if you would like to download any of these and subscribe to them, you just press the little plus icon. So I'll have a link to this in the description. So if you have Steam, you can just press the little plus icon. Otherwise, all of these guys, you can also copy paste the schematic in here as well. So that will allow you to grab that. Now this particular one I just redesigned, but some of these other ones though, I think this is kind of fun. Like people started downloading them recently. I only posted this a couple days ago. There's already people using them, which I think is cool. I started, they don't let you update them very easily. You can change the title after you posted them to the workshop, and that's about it. You can't replace it. So in order to really replace it, you have to delete this one and then upload a new one is how that works. So I was deleting it and then posting new ones to optimize it, and then I realized that I think I'm screwing over people that were already subscribed. I don't know what happens if it just gets it out of their schematics, or they just have it but it doesn't have a link to the Steam page because there's not a schematic on the workshop. I don't know how that works, but I felt bad after I realized that I was just trying to make post an updated, more awesome one, and then I realized I might have been screwing people over, so I stopped doing that. Yeah, I've stopped tinkering with it. You could optimize these further, but I tried to give descriptions of some of these, and I think it's pretty cool though. So I have all these schematics that I used. Again, some of these I don't know the author of some of these originally, because some of these my friend designed or showed me, and then I think he got them online, and I'm not sure. I like this one a lot, for example, because you can just plop it down in the middle of the line of ammo. I think a lot of people, well, yeah, I guess more people are using them. There's only a few people the other day. That's cool though. I think this is one of the ones I'm really proud of, is this one worked out great. So I tried to make these images too with Photoshop real quick, where I gave brief descriptions on what they do and some instructions on how to use it and stuff, but actually I wanted to see how many people were subscribed to that one. Yeah, 32. Yeah. Makes me happy. Anyways, so if you would like any of these, I have descriptions in here as well as in the picture on this page, and there's a copy-pasteable schematic in case you, especially for people who don't, you can get this game not on Steam, so you wouldn't have access to the workshop. This is really easy, just click that. But if you don't have Steam, you can still find it on the Steam workshop, and you can copy-paste my schematic into your game if you got it directly off of a Nuke's website, for example, instead of purchasing it on Steam. So I have options like that available for you. So all of these schematics that you saw me using, well, most of them anyways, I have here in the workshop. So yeah, there's that bridge I use for the defenses, for example. Just simple enough to design yourself, but you get the idea. But I feel like some of these are pretty nice. I have optimized some of these since then. This is a better phase fabric, for example, where I have multiple inputs, but it's just sending thorium through the middle, and then I have multiple sand outputs to have up to 10 phase conveyors, or phase weavers, which is great. All right, so that concludes this Let's Play. I had a great time. I started playing this and I just couldn't stop. So I'm feeling a little bit burned out now that I have like 160 hours on Steam now. It's a lot. So I play this game quite a bit. I feel like most games I kind of get burned out after about 40 hours and then I'm like done and ready to move on to something else. So it took me a lot longer to get to that point with this game, but I'm ready to be done now. Now, one thing I will say about that before I move on is I might go ahead and make a schematics video. I mean, you saw all the work I just put into the workshop, and it's pretty elaborate. I think it's really helpful, and I really explain everything well in there and everything, and I have a whole bunch of them available to people. So I'll have links to all that in the description, by the way. But I might make a schematic video because more so just to share it a little bit more publicly, and the reason is it just feels like a shame. Like, I spent so many hours in this game and I designed all this stuff, and like, if I just move on and like I don't share that, it just feels like kind of a waste. Like, I don't know, I have this perfect opportunity. Here I have a YouTube channel and stuff. I don't know. So I'm thinking I might do that real quick. It's not like I don't want to be the Mindustry guy on YouTube or anything, but it just feels like a shame not to post that, you know? So anyways, I might do that. We'll see what happens. But yeah, that's kind of my plan, but I'm ready to move on to something else. You guys enjoyed this. Be sure to subscribe for more content like this. I'll post more Let's Plays, but I'm primarily focused on doing walkthroughs and guides. So, in particular for Legend of Zelda, but I'm probably going to work on Terraria. It's going to be one of my next projects, is what I'm thinking right now. I love that game. So, which is also a big, like, creative, sandboxy kind of game that's great co-op experience. So yeah, I like that game a lot. So here we go, we're gonna move on to something else. So yeah, subscribe and all that jazz, and I'll see you guys for my future endeavors. You guys are awesome, have an amazing day, and I'll see you next time.